What is going on, Nissan Nation? From all things Nissan here in my town to wherever you're watching around the globe, this is your Nissan Nation Productions, and I am your host, David Boyd. And sorry, everybody, I've been battling some internet issues tonight. It wasn't actually Fat Finger Dave. It was just a lack of threads. However, the internet works, man. So tonight. Sorry, it's a cluster tonight, boys. So tonight we have Dave with Blindman Overland on. What's going on, man?
What's going on, buddy?
Dude, it's been an adventure, man. It must be trying to talk to a Canadian is the issues, I guess.
It could very well be, It could very well be. You never know.
Right. So if everybody here doesn't know, I got to talk to you. We talked last October, something like that, and the interview just didn't get out till I think a couple months ago. And,
it wasn't too long ago.
So it's funny. I got to talk to you before your real winter adventures got going on, and now the interview released right when your winter adventures are ending, and now it's summer, or I guess it is summer now. And this isn't your favorite time from the way we talked the last time.
Well, it's not my most favorite. It's just it gets really busy out where I like to go camping.
Right,
and,
right.
During the fall and the winter, it's not busy at all. So,
would you get? I know on the Colorado areas, it's like you get everybody once it starts warming up, they all in the weekends flock to outdoors, and they all want to go out in the woods and stuff. Do you have a problem with that where you're at?
Yeah, well, some might call it a problem. I want everyone to go out and enjoy these areas, right? Otherwise, they kind of get systematically taken away.
Right.
So what usually happens in Alberta is that the unofficial start to summer is May long weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically this year, just due to COVID and the amount of public parks and stuff like that were closed, what they ended up doing was leaving those parks closed. So anybody that would normally go to these catered campgrounds just went out to what we call Crown Land, which is the same as Bureau of Land Management land for you guys, BLM.
Right.
And it just got really busy, but generally after that it's not so bad. I mean, it doesn't get too crowded, to be honest. There's a lot of land out here to go around. So
well, but when we talked the last time though, you're a big fan of winter camping. I mean, you were doing it in some extreme, us in the States, the conversions always screws me up, so I won't even try to guess a temperature. But I know it was the pictures that I've seen on Instagram and stuff, dude, you're in 5 feet of snow, it seems like, man. You really
there's some snow out there. Well, it's like I said, it's a peaceful, man. Let me tell you something. It's one thing to be out in the wild and out in the bush during the summer, because the forests are alive.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's walking around and eating, and those things still kind of happen in the wintertime, but the whole world becomes insulated and it is deadly quiet. The skies are deadly clear. The Northern Lights will put on a show that most people never see in their lifetime, but they put on that show quite often,
right,
during the winter, and it's just it's a majestic place to be, man. It's majestic.
Well, since I'm way down here in the south of the states here, tell us a little bit about the Northern Lights a little bit, because I see cool pictures of the stuff, but do you guys, is it kind of like a weather thing where they kind of go, okay, this week it's going to be perfect for the Northern Lights, or is it just sort of happens?
Well, no, they do have. They got a lot of really smart space kind of people, that give us little tidbits of information, that the night's going to be perfectly clear for the Northern Lights. They'll do that if it's going to be a specifically bright, if they think it's going to be a specifically bright show, but It's not like it happens all the time. Those kind of shows, anyway. I mean, you do get the Northern Lights a lot, but to have the kind that, do you know those little, man, they were really popular back in the 60s, I think. They had a stick on it, and then they have a giant ribbon attached to it, and kids can wave it around. And well, if you could just picture that, but thousands of feet in the sky and translucent neon colors that are super crazy, that's what it's like. It's like a giant ribbon that flows through the sky that becomes invisible and then revisible and then super green and super pink and super yellow, and
right. Well,
it's pretty magical.
I know NASA showed some pictures that I'm big into space and all that, but NASA showed some pictures from the actual space station of the Northern Lights, and it even there they could get a glimpse of the way it was reflecting and stuff. Is really, really cool, man. So
they are very cool.
if you guys haven't yet, you need to go over to Blindman Overland on Instagram, obviously on YouTube. You're on Facebook, if I remember right.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Those are the ones I use.
If you guys would go over there and smash that like button or subscribe button, whatever it is, and show Dave here some love. So, Dave, let's get into this a little bit. We've done this before, but we're going to do it for a visual audience now.
Yeah.
What got you into Nissan first off, and then what got you into overlanding?
Oh, sure. This is a fun story. So the very first car I ever owned, I bought off of my best friend way back in the day. I think I might have been 13. And it was a 1979 Datsun 280ZX. And
those in the States, that's a Z.
Yeah, sorry. A 280ZX. And I just fell in love with the car, man. I mean, it's a sports car that a kid had, you know. So I fell in love with it. That's actually what started my love for automobiles in general. And over a few years, I rebuilt it, I put it back to work. I did a shit ton of burnouts on it, and then eventually I sold it to my brother. And yeah, that began the process of buying and selling almost every vehicle I've ever owned.
Right. Right. But at some point, what was it? Overlanding that brought you to the Frontier? Or was it the Frontier that sort of brought you to overlanding?
It was I guess it would be the Frontier that kind of brought me to overlanding, because in Alberta where I live, just because of my location to the mountains, a lot of my spare time I spend in the mountains. So I'm either backpacking, hiking, camping, and I used to go out wheeling quite a bit back when I owned my Jeeps. So when I found out that there was like a whole thing that people are doing where it just merges backpacking and off-roading, and they're calling it overlanding, I was kind of like, yeah, that's something that could probably happen. Like, that's something I could probably get into.
Right. Yeah. Cause I mean, you were saying that you were into backpacking and stuff. And of course, as we get older too, like I still like to go hiking and stuff, but the older me, the 46-year-old me is like, I can only do that for so long anymore. So the idea,
and that's just it.
Yeah. So the idea of being out, like, oh, I can bring all the cool little goodies and they're in my truck whenever I want to do it.
Oh man, it's a completely different thing too. I mean, some of these roads that you drive during this overlanding thing, like we just did a long term, I wouldn't call it a long term, but it was a long expedition. We did a nearly 6,000 kilometer trek in about 10 days.
Oh, wow.
And, which was pretty wild, man. We've seen things in Alberta that I've lived here my whole life, and I've never seen these things with my eyes. And man, are they fascinating. Like the geological makeup of this province is insane. And when you consider the size, most of you might not know how big and vast the provinces of Canada are, but about 5 or 6 of your states can fit in about one of our provinces.
Right.
And the distances and the terrain that you have to go through. So we hit sand, concrete, asphalt, gravel, dirt, mud, grass. Like we hit it all in nearly 6,000 kilometer circuit of the entire province. And you know what? It was wild. And yeah, my Nissan Frontier, I'll swear up and down, I don't care if you drive a Toyota or a Jeep. You know what? I'm sure my Frontier will probably keep up. I almost guarantee it.
Well, so tell us a little bit about what you've done to your truck.
Yeah, so far, well, even since the last time that we spoke, I've made a couple changes. So it's sitting on a 2-inch lift right now, or a 2-inch leveling kit with upgraded Bilston shocks on the back. And that's all the way around. And then I'm running 33-inch Toyo Open Countries for my tires, which are E-rated as well. So they're an extremely heavy-duty tire. I used to run them on my big diesels, and they're rated for a much bigger truck, and they do really, really well in a light truck. Just by nature of that, they hardly ever puncture.
Right.
Just because they're not getting used for a quarter of the work they're intended for. So they're a nice, safe tire. Then I built a whole drawer system for the back. Lots of people have done that in this whole overlanding thing, so it's nothing new, but it is very convenient.
Of course.
And I try to do everything in sort of a DIY fashion. If I can't build it, then I'll go out and I'll buy it. And sometimes even if I can buy it, I might try to build it first anyway.
Well, that's, some of it, that is part of the fun of this, right? It's like,
yeah.
Obviously you want to do the hobby or whatever this is for you and you want to go do it, but sometimes it's the building of the product to get you there.
Well, then that's it. That's just it, right? That's what fills that that car guy need that I have, this insatiable need to like. There isn't a vehicle I've ever owned that could stay stock.
Right. Once you get that bug in you, man, there you got to modify.
It's just in you. That's right. You know, the only vehicle that did stay stock was my 2013 Nissan Titan, and it's not just because it was such a show truck. I had an SL fully loaded 13, and man, did I ever that truck! Woo, fast, sexy, and expensive.
Yes,
and that was great.
Well, so you're doing a lot of rooftop camping, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I sleep in a Smitty-built Overlander rooftop tent, just the 2 to 3 man, because it fits perfectly. If you have a half rack, if you're running on an Overland Frontier, and you like that sleek, low profile design like I do, like I like a clean truck that looks decent, that has nice lines to it. If you're trying to do that, I recommend going with like a half rack and going with a soft shell pop over rooftop tent. The amount of work that goes into opening and closing your tent is no big deal.
Right.
Even if it's 10 minutes, it's not a big deal. You're camping.
Well, and
right?
for you, you need, I would say, especially in the summertime, you need to be as high as possible off the ground. Just due to, we have rattlesnakes and fun things like that, but you have bigger mammals that like to bite.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Our not only are the bigger animals able to bite, they're quite smart as well. So. Being off the ground, it gives you a false sense of security, but
Really?
It does give you a good sense of security. Well, bears climb, cats climb, everything in the forest climbs.
But I would say,
to be honest,
you're not like a burrito on the ground. Like you can feel that they're trying to get in there.
That's right. It's unlikely. Yeah, it's not like that's right. It would take them a little bit longer to realize what's going on if they were willing to intend to do harm. Right. In my experience, most animals like literally are more afraid of you than you are of them. So if you've got a fear of bears or even big cats, don't let that stop you from getting out there, because honestly, you probably won't see them unless you spend a considerable amount of time out there. But they're not interested in you. They don't want to go around you. You're noisy, you smell funny, and they don't care. Right.
Well, what are some things when you're out kind of deep out there? What are some things that will kind of pester you?
Oh man, mosquitoes.
Yeah, it's like
lots of mosquitoes.
It's like a national bird up there, right?
They get pretty big actually on this just trek we did. You'll see it on one of our episodes, but the mosquitoes were so bad that we packed up the next day and we went to go get more mosquito stuff. And in the town that we went into, they were all sold out of all mosquito stuff. Wow. Because everybody had already taken them all. So
yeah, well, I've watched a lot of video from up there of adventuring, and yeah, that like I deal with tiny mosquitoes in my daily life for what I do.
Yeah,
like I can't imagine like bird basically mosquitoes, like ones that you punch at them and they punch right back at you.
You know what? They're excuse me. They're not quite as big as a bird, but we've seen as big as a thumbnail.
Yeah,
mosquitoes that big.
Oh, I've seen, you wear those nets. So you wear the face nets, and I've seen like people's faces just covered with those things because mosquitoes are attracted to CO2, and obviously you're breathing. That's what they
when
want
you're
to
running. Exactly, and that's also why if you're camping somewhere where there's a considerable amount of mosquitoes, don't leave your truck running for very long either.
Really? Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they'll just swarm your pickup. They do, and then you get mosquitoes inside your tent because you're trying to open your tent, and just don't do it. Just shut your car off really fast.
Well, what kind of takes down mosquitoes? I know here we have starling birds and all kinds of stuff that kind of keep them down for us, but is it just something that up there that I know there's just a lot of dampness and stuff they like?
Yeah, there's just a lot of standing fresh water, right? And specifically up in the Yukon, they've had notoriously dry the last 6 to 7 years up in the north of the 61st or 63rd parallel or whatever it is. It was very dry, but when we went up there, they were experiencing an unprecedented 1 month of rain. Mm-hmm. And so that just made those mosquitoes super, super hungry.
Right.
And there's just not much around there to eat them. We've got the bats and we've got the hummingbirds and we've got, the larger insects and the spiders and all that stuff. But man, sometimes there's a lot of wide open space here where spiders just don't build webs and birds don't have trees to nest in. So they just grow.
Well, we'll throw some spiders that way for you if that'll help.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe some spiders that can grow in the tall grass might help.
Well, So tell us a little bit about what you do as Blindman Overland. I mean, obviously it's a name for your adventures, but is there more to it? What is going on with that?
A year ago I started this YouTube channel, and I was really curious in all this kind of stuff that everybody was doing, and for a career, I'd always kind of done the thing where it was, get a good job, get a career, get a trade, and then after the trade, I realized, oh man, there's a lot of shady stuff that goes down, in certain dealerships when you're a mechanic,
Right.
that I didn't really want to be part of. So I tried, jumping from shop to shop, and I found that it was kind of just everywhere. So then I went into a different career altogether, and I started working in the energy sector, helping our boys in the coveralls there get us our gas and our diesel. And so I did that for a while, and then eventually I just got tired of being away all the time. You do make pretty decent money, but you don't get to build a sort of relationship with someone that'll let you share it.
Right.
It's a good for a single guy if you need to make some cash quick, but I wouldn't make a career out of it personally.
Right.
Well, I mean, I did, so you should. Maybe not a long one.
Right. Don't follow your footsteps, basically.
Yeah. Don't spend 50 years of doing it. And then recently I was laid off last fall, and then with just kind of everything happening, I kind of made the decision. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to try and do something a little different. So if I can take a passion and turn it into some sort of income, I think that's kind of the dream for everybody, isn't it?
Of course.
And I want to do it in a way that's not very corporate, not very Fortune 500-y, right? Like I kind of like just the small mom and pop shop kind of thing. So we in the works. We're hopefully, the plan is to maybe monetize the channel if it gets popular enough, and then I've got a couple of other local outdoorsy backpacking pages and stuff like that do kind of well. So I guess, I don't know, man. I guess the idea is to just kind of turn my love of the outdoors and my ability to communicate with people on a somewhat reasonable level, into an income, so that I don't have to have a normal job.
Well, what's normal anymore?
Oh man, that is a loaded question. That is a loaded question, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good question.
So where are you at with your YouTube stuff? I mean, obviously we know what it takes to get monetized and just like get is it viewers you need, or is it subs? What is it that you need?
I've just I think I'm not too sure. From what I understand about monetization on YouTube, it's subscribers and viewing hours.
Yes. So where are you at on subscribers?
I got about 145 subscribers as of today.
Nice.
Which is a nice number. Like, it's a really nice number. I'm super stoked about it, and I like watching them grow. I feel it's gonna sound stupid, but like, I feel dirty when I try to manipulate the algorithm in my favor. Like,
oh, what? Hey, man, the world does that to you. So why not? Why you don't feel dirty about that?
I do. I know. I get that. It's just it just seems like I'm not a very attention-seeking person,
Right.
I don't like the hey look at me kind of thing.
Right.
And that's what that kind of feels like to me. It feels like, hey, pay attention to me.
Wow, I feel like I'm being hated on all of a sudden over here with my media empire.
No, man, no, not at all. Not at all.
I'm messing with you, but so we need to get you 1,000 subs. So guys, that's
the goal, yeah.
If you're watching this right now, go over to Blindman. Is it one word on YouTube, or is it two words?
On YouTube, I believe it's Blindman as one word, and then Overland is another word.
All right, so go find Blindman's channel, go find Dave's channel, and go like and subscribe it, man. Because for one, we Nissan people know what it's like just to be kind of the underdog as is, and being the frontier in a Toyota world sometimes is a underdog situation. Like, that's a micro underdog situation, and then like trying to just show that, and I know you're not really Nissan specific per se, because you have friends in all kinds of vehicles, but we do like supporting those that that are trying to make a go of it in a Nissan product. So guys, once again,
of course,
go over to Blindman Overland. For one, hit all of his socials. So on Instagram, just do it, or else Danny will never come back. Put it that way. But go show him some love, man, because I know what it was like to when I started the YouTube thing. We started ours in 2015. Now,
wow.
that's 5 years ago, but I never put any investment into YouTube because we were doing audio, and I was like, the idea, like, you were talking about editing a video before we started.
Yeah.
there is so much time to do this, and just guys, when you think about, like, a lot of times this costs people like me and Dave money to do. Like, there's an investment into doing this, and you want the rewards for right now for Dave is like viewership. Let's get you some viewers and just some subs and like what you do, man.
Yeah,
But
man.
so
I
let me
appreciate that. Thank you.
of course, dude. Let me get into your Instagram page a little bit, because this is kind of how I found you, or we found each other somehow.
Yeah, I think it was Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just started, like, you take great pictures. And I don't
Thank
know
you.
if you're doing, with a DSLR, you're just using your little phone or whatever, but a lot of your photos I see are very thoughtful photos. And anybody
thank
can
you.
take a picture of rock crawling or something like that. And Lord knows I have a ton of pictures like that I post. But like, you seem to frame up everything well, and you're in the part of the country that especially us in the States, we don't know what it's like to have such open space. Now we can go to Utah and those places, and there's still a lot of open space, but you have color, you have animals, you have a lot of things that we don't have. And I really dig, like, I'm scrolling through your page now, and I like how you just, every once in a while you throw a picture of your dog up there, or an old building. But then I see there's one particular one that, man, this past week or so when you did it, I was like, oh man, he's really geeking out. So you got to see the Expedition Overland guys. That's right, I think.
Yeah, we did. We ran into X Overland. So there's a very popular camping area down here called Ghost, the Ghost Public Land Use Zone. It's kind of where everybody goes down for some good wheeling. It is high class wheeling down there. It's really nice, and you got amazing landscapes around you and tons of water crossings, and I believe it was Richard and Ashley. I'm probably getting those names wrong, so forgive me if I am. But they went down there for a a day trip, and they had just gotten back from their Arctic expedition, where they actually went up to Tuck in the wintertime, which that is a jaunt. Like, that is
right.
Make no mistake, that's a feat, and it's not a vacation. Like, that's work. So mad respects for them for doing it. I've had to do something similar like that for work for a couple times, and it's a jaunt.
Right. But your post, let me look at your post. And one day, guys, I'll have it where it pops up here so everybody can see it. But like you said, you posted, I may have low key geeked out when I saw this truck roll into Ghost this morning. It was so rad to see this whole expedition. It's nothing but a mind blowing experience, man. But you know what? Okay, so we were talking before we aired. Like, I really like those guys. I really liked what they were doing. Now, like, obviously they're Toyota guys, and that's that's a whole nother show. But I liked how they started out. Like, they were just a group of guys. It seemed like just buddies that went to Moab. They did Moab, and then they were like, hey, let's plan our next adventure, which turned into this. Now I'm going to say it's a corporate thing, because they have a lot of money behind them now, and they get to go. Yeah. I've seen Clay and him studio. Like, they built a house, and half the house is a studio. Now, granted, Clay was he was a kind of movie guy before this. I'm not sure if, like, he didn't have major credentials.
I think it was a movie or a production background.
Yeah,
in his work.
But like, he knew to put hobby to my job. Let's merge the two and do it kind of like what you're trying to do. It's like, let's my passion and what I like doing. Let's go do this. And like, I'll be honest, like, when they first were doing it, I bought their hat. I thought it was really cool. I wanted to show support that way, and like, to get to see them in the wild like that, dude. That's a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a very popular brand. Like, when it comes to overlanding, Expedition Overland is overlanding.
You would almost think they invented it.
You guys, you might even say so.
Or Clay would say so. Clay definitely would say so.
Yeah, they would. They've definitely turned it into something cool. At least that's for sure.
Well, so where are you heading with what you're doing? Obviously, summer's in full effect, so obviously there's it's an easier time for you to get out and do things. But is there things you do in the summertime that the wintertime doesn't allow, and vice versa?
Not so much. I mean, in the wintertime, a lot of our trails are open. Or in the summertime, a lot of our trails are open. So you'll probably see after these expedition videos, you'll probably see a lot of posts of me out wheeling. So you'll get to see some pretty cool trails. Some pretty epic little trails out there that are pretty fun to run.
Right.
Probably nothing too crazy technical, just because my truck is my daily at the moment as well, and I have ruined 2 dailies out there doing this kind of stuff before. It's a pain in the butt, because then you have to get it out of the middle of nowhere, and that's the most expensive part.
I was gonna say, yeah, to get somebody to come out and get you is, I can imagine.
Yeah, there's specialty off-road recovery people that live and work in the areas that we play in, and it's there, and do right, they charge a fortune, and so they should, to get your stuff out, because otherwise it sits there and that just can't happen, right?
Well, so let's see if there's anybody here in the chat has any kind of questions right now. Let's if you guys want to ask away, I'll kind of read these off. I don't know, Dave, I don't know if you're watching the YouTube channel or not, but if you guys have
pulling up right now
any specific questions you want to know about off-roading in Canada, let's find out what's going on. For one, so let's start a poll what Dave is drinking tonight. All right, so first off, guys, this was not brought to you by Monster Energy, but it should have been, because Monster, there's an open spot for a little refrigerator. That's all I'm asking for, is just a little refrigerator. And tonight we are on Frontier Whiskey, so one of my favorite whiskeys, man. Dave, you got anything special in your cup, or is it just...
Oh no, this is just pure Canadian H2O, right out of the tap.
Right off the icebergs, right?
Yeah, I chipped it off this morning.
Well, I know. I feel like you were like an IPA guy when we chatted the last time. Like I feel like.
Yeah, I'm a big sucker. Sucker for an IPA. I like IPAs. I also like heavy beers. I like anything with a lot of body to it. It's pretty good. Nice.
Let's see. Come on, guys. There got to be some questions for Dave here. I mean, there's 2 Daves right here, man. How can this not be full of questions? So I did the what am I drinking, and the other Dave is just water. Where would you like to see? Obviously, you were talking about you'd like the YouTube thing and all your Instagram stuffs to kind of fund what you want to do. I mean, is it just like I can just get by and just be happy, making a go at this, or is there a bigger picture for you?
Listen, I've been toying with the idea, man, but here's the thing is, I'm such a go with the flow kind of guy. Like, this is whatever this thing turns into, that's what it turns into. I mean, I'm building a custom off-road camper for my truck right now, an ultralight kind of thing that just allows you to put a rooftop tent and then it's basically what those really fast, simple rooftop campers with the tent, the clam pops up, something like that, but it doesn't cost you $10 million.
Right.
And it can be used on a 5.5-foot box, and it could even be used with your existing rooftop tent. So, I've got some things in the works that I want to try and build and maybe, make some sort of products from. But I'm kind of keeping them close to my chest right now, just because I don't know what I really want to do with them. I've sold a couple of box racks for rooftop tents, because the one I run on my Frontier, a lot of people ask a couple questions about them. So, I've built and sold a couple of those, but other than that, I'm just kind of going through the motions and living life and doing what I love to do. And, I like it. I love engaging with the people that follow me on YouTube and Instagram. We got a really cool group on there that we like chatting with, and I get a lot of kick butt ideas from other Frontier guys. I've had a lot of other Frontier people follow me, and they've been sharing a lot of stuff too. So, man, I'm super jazzed. I love it. I love the Nissan Nation. It's good stuff, man. You guys are a good group of peeps.
Well, let's see. Nepler04 asks, is Canada better for riding than the northern parts of the United States?
Riding as in a motorcycle?
I'm going to assume
driving?
just driving in general for off-roading, maybe.
That's a good question. We're pretty, our governments are pretty anal about where we're allowed to drive off-road, even on public land. You can be hit with some pretty stiff fines if you're in the wrong areas, and we try to be pretty careful. But yeah, there's a lot of places to wheel out here. As a matter of fact, the entire Forestry Trunk Road, which you'll see on one of the episodes on this series coming up, that's literally like a 300 to 400 kilometer, probably even more than that even, section of road where it's one continuous road, gravel road, and off that gravel road shoots quad trails, bike trails, Jeep trails, public land. So there's an entire world to explore out here.
Right.
Well, to be honest,
Have you been down to the United States to do any kind of driving?
No, I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to give a fair comparison to it.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see.
Yeah.
Frank B asked, "What year is your Frontier?" And what does he see? You use on your channel and trim level.
It's 2013.
And trim level.
2013 SV 4x4 off-road.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. So you got an SV, and I was in some Facebook group today, and they were talking about, is there an advantage to having Pro 4X versus like an SV? And in your opinion, obviously you know a little bit about Frontiers. Obviously, Pro 4X, you know, at retail is sort of the highest you can go for the Frontier. What brought you to SV, and was there like, man, I'd like to have the Pro 4X, but?
What brought me to the SV is that I'm kind of a shop local, buy local kind of guy. And in the area, there was 2 Frontiers for sale. And the one that I bought, I didn't buy it from a Nissan dealership. I bought it from a Ford dealership because they were the only ones that had the one that I wanted.
Well, probably Nissan dealerships in your area is probably sparse anyways.
Yep. And the Nissan dealership that is in our area, it's a great dealership. My personal mechanic that I use, Justin Brown, he works there. But they couldn't find what I wanted. So
you're getting this YouTube game out. Look at you just throwing names out like it's nothing. Look at that.
Yeah.
But
you gotta show the love, right?
That's right, man. But was the idea like if you could have found a Pro 4X, would that have been, or is it just like, I don't?
Yeah, I want a locking diff. Yeah. And the amount of money that you have to spend to even do the diff swap from that is insane. So if I'm going to do that, I'm just going to do a Titan swap.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like you might as well.
Right.
I wouldn't have minded that.
Our buddies that are in the chat, Shadow Wolf, man, makes a SAS kit. You never know. I mean, come on, guys.
Oh yeah, no way.
Let's get this channel going so he can SAS his Frontier. Let's see. We got to see if we got any other questions here. So Cordetti Motorsports, who is in Canada, he said Alberta is very restrictive. Providence-wise, the territories have 0 restrictions.
Yeah, you can almost drive anywhere you want up in the territories, man.
Right. Frontier Lifestyle says you do not need a Pro 4X to have fun, and I would agree with that.
Nope.
Obviously,
100%.
Obviously, 4-wheel drive is 4-wheel drive when it comes down to it. Yeah, there's better versions with locking differentials and lower crawling gears, but at the end of the day, just go have fun with your truck, and maybe if you spend less, you have more money for the adventures. Let's see. What is pickup truck plus SUV talk wants to know, what is the price per liter right now of fuel?
Oh, we hit a few of those things. So the lowest we saw last week was 75 cents, which is insane.
Right.
Like that's scary. Like I like cheap gas, but that's a scary number. The average right now is about 90 to 95 cents a liter.
Okay.
So $100 for 100 liters.
I'm assuming that you guys have went through with the COVID and stuff, the same thing we've went through, where people would just quit driving their vehicles and fuel prices.
Well, yeah, supply and demand, right? So
right.
Nobody was driving anywhere, so
which hurts probably your area because you get into your area. That's big. That's a big thing for you guys.
Yeah, that and farming. Alberta's energy sector and our farming sector, they're really important both to Alberta and to the benefit of all Canadians too.
Let's see.
And we've been riding a storm for it. So
right. So Frank B wants to know, what tires do you run on your Frontier and what size are they?
So I run a 16-inch wheel just because I like having more rubber. And if I do ever decide to go anything out of the country and do a proper to finish the Pan American Highway, then I want a better available to tires. So 16s, and they're Toyo Open Country 33s, MTs.
Would you buy those again?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was on tires? What was your options, or what were you just always, these are the tires I wanted?
Well, I've run Cooper STTPs.
Well, and I've run. Sorry, Dave. And I asked this because you're the terrain that you deal with here, us in the States. I mean, especially me in the South, we're very limited. Like, once again, just off-road travel. So you would have a better idea of like, hey, these work best in mud, these work best with rock, because you have all kinds of terrain. Yeah. And I've run mud terrains in every big diesel that I've ever had or ever run for work.
And they don't do bad in the winter. I'll be honest, they don't do bad. If you get a nice E-rated tire and you add some siping to it, they'll do quite well. All-terrain tires, though, personally, they're probably a little bit more versatile than a mud terrain is. And they're going to last a little bit longer as well because you don't have these massive rubber lugs that are.
I'm not a big fan of. I used to like. I'm a BF Goodrich guy through and through, man. Like I bit that Poison Apple, whatever it was, and that's my brand.
Yep.
And I used to run KM2s all the time, and they're a great tire. But overall, man, I think just the new KOs are just like. For overall better tire, man. I mean, yeah, there's times when the big lugs pay off, but I've done all the adventuring I've done, and I've ran these same trails with the same sets of tires. Like, I've never really had a problem with the all-terrains.
No, and that's the thing. All-terrains are probably the most versatile tire you can find. Up in here in Alberta, we deal with a lot of skag, which is like just swampy areas that just emerge out of nowhere too. Like it'll just be in a forest, you'll be on trail, and then you're surrounded by skag. So mud terrain tires, if you're going to be wheeling, they're almost a must up here in Alberta.
Okay.
But if you're doing basic trails, like if you're doing anything down in the Ghost or anything like that, you're usually pretty good if you just have a nice set of all-terrain tires and a decent air compressor so you can air up and air down if you need to.
Of course. Let's see. Cordetti says in the Arctic, they are partial to Goodyear Duratrax. Have you much thought on the Duratrax?
Duratrax are a really, really popular tire up here. They might even be the oil patch tire, to be honest. Wranglers, they're a strong tire. My brother runs them on his Chevy, half of them, and they're savage.
Right. And I've always considered the Duratrax like a hybrid. They're like a very hybrid of all-terrain meets AT.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, now that you say that, even in their tread design, their tread design is very reminiscent of an all-terrain tire, and yet the aggressiveness is reminiscent of a mud-terrain tire.
The only problem I've ever had with the Duratrax was sidewalls. Because I would run a C-load tire on my Xterra, and I would cut sidewalls like crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot. I've heard that too. I personally have never had an issue with the sidewall, but I've heard a lot of people that have. And
I know it depends on the range, the load range that you're running, because I've heard like you get into the D and E, it's a better, more plies on the sidewalls versus.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't. If you're gonna spend that kind of money on a high end tire, buy an E-rated tire.
Yes,
straight up.
Yeah. Let's see. We got
sacrifice it.
A couple. Let's see. Kelly asked, did you put a lift on your Frontier? If so, how many inches did you lift your Frontier?
So it's got a 2-inch leveling kit to it. And then the 33s do add about another inch of lift. So I've got an extra 3 inches of clearance.
Right. And do you think that pays off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know what it is about the Frontier. I swear it's so strange because on the 4x4 off, I was parked beside another SV 4x4 off-road. This is before I did a lift and before I put on bigger tires, and I was still taller than him. And yet there were other Frontiers that were sort of as tall as mine, but not as tall as mine. I don't have a body lift. I didn't have an Adaleaf until recently, so I don't know. They stock Nissan Frontiers, which is what mine was, don't look as tall as mine was.
Right.
I know it sounds weird, but I think I had some sort of additional boost in there somehow.
Well, somewhere. The thing that the old hard bodies used to look like, a 4-wheel drive looked taller. Like you could obviously see more frame, but for some reason when they went to the Gen 2 Frontiers, even the 4-wheel drives look low. Now you look at a Tacoma and a 4-wheel drive still looks like a tall vehicle. And of course I know Tacoma people will kind of fuss about, well, the seating position's horrible because if you're a short guy like me, it's okay. But if you're a taller guy, like your legs are just like feel like you're just straight out. But that's something I'm hoping in the Gen 3 though, that they sort of fix a little bit and make the off-road package look a little lifted anyways.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this new launch of the Frontier, man, like so much, because man, there is so much. And this is the thing. I love my Frontiers, truly. And it's a perfect vehicle the way it is. But there is so much. It is such a perfect platform to do something really cool from. And I can't wait to see what they decide to do because it's been a long time.
Right.
And they've got Nissan, if you're listening, let me tell you something.
Trust me, they listen. Trust me, they do.
You've got a lot of people expecting some pretty seriously cool things. So
well, as we kind of wind this interview down with you, so I've got one more question here. Where was it? I don't want to miss it. So Greg asked, he's from Alberta, Frontier owner here. He says, thoughts about getting together and wheeling at Ghost. He said you could take some kick-ass photos for the Nissan Nation. You seem like a dude that's always down to. Go follow his direct message him on Instagram, get a hold of him, follow his stuff, and go for it. So as one final question for you, I'm assuming you've, like most of the world, seen the photo that we released of the Gen 3 potential Nismo Frontier. What are your thoughts on that thing?
Oh, I don't know yet, man. I haven't seen enough of it.
And that's, trust me, I've taken so much crap about, well, that photo is not enough shown. And it's like, dude, you know what it took to get that photo?
Oh, man, I can only imagine. I can only imagine the amount of, oh, yeah, I'm not even going to try to think I know what it was like getting that.
I wrote my ticket to hell on that one, guys, so.
You might have. You pretty much had to, right?
Right.
Oh, that is funny. No, listen, I really like how it doesn't look like a Frontier.
Right.
I like that because that tells me that they did some seriously crazy stuff. And whether or not that's what we're actually going to purchase or not, whether it's going to look like that or not, I don't know. But if it looks as aggressive as that looks and as kind of tall and chunky as it looked, I think I'm going to be a fan. I'll be honest. And I wasn't a fan of the Titan when they redid the Titan. But I think I'll be a fan. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
So I'm assuming too you've seen Nissan's A to Z video where you can kind of see the toned down version of the Frontier. Have you been able to check that out?
I have not seen it yet.
What?
No, I have
You're
not.
like the only guy in Canada that's probably not seen that video. But yeah, they've definitely you can see more of a toned down version, and it's still sneaky. It's like it's still not a clear photo, but it definitely gives you an idea of what maybe the SVs are going to look like.
Oh, is that their teaser video?
They made a teaser video, yeah, man. And if you guys go over to our channel, I did a whole thing on that. So let's see. What are we drinking, Dave? Dave is drinking a Frontier whiskey, and the other Dave is drinking water. Let's see, are there any more?
Yeah, I think that'll look pretty sharp.
So one last, I hate to keep saying there's one last, but Frank B asked, do you have a winch on your Frontier? And have you ever been in a situation where you needed a winch on your Frontier?
Not on my Frontier, because I've learned my lessons when I owned other vehicles where a stock vehicle can and cannot go. But I do have a guy out of my hometown here who's going to be building me front and rear bumpers with a winch plate on it, and as soon as that happens, I will be putting a winch on it.
And you know how we make that happen? You got to always be selling, man. Always be selling. Guys, if you go like and subscribe to his YouTube channel, I mean, you just got to go do that right now. Like, there's a tab on here where you can put a new window up, so you just go over there, Blindman Overland, and his Instagram, and show the guy some love, man. Like Dave, like I had a lot of fun the last time we talked, and I think after the fact, when we stopped recording, we talked for another hour or so, just about.
Yeah, we were on it for a while.
We were, man, and
that was good. That was good.
But dude, it's been super fun having you on here tonight, and I've got to get to some Nissan news here, or else my people might be.
No worries, man. No worries. You do your Nissan thing. I'll be watching. So.
Well, dude, it's been great talking to you, and we'll have you on in maybe in a couple months and see how your adventures this summer's been going.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, and if you guys are interested, we have on our YouTube channel right now, we're dropping the new Four Corners Expedition series of Alberta, where we hit as far as you can in each direction, and it's going to be sick, so hope to see you guys there as well. Nice, man. We'll like and share that for you, and hopefully get you some viewers, man. Cool, buddy. All right, dude. Later, man. Peace. Let's see here. Let's go solo. What is going on, Nissan Nation? How was that? Did y'all enjoy that? Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, because I enjoy talking to Dave no matter what. I'm sorry if I missed any questions. I'm sorry. I'm looking at like a computer over here, and I'm trying to like somewhat look at the camera over here. Then I've got a monitor over here I'm trying to look at. So sometimes without like Danny to kind of like let Danny go on a tangent, and then I can start doing some work over here and come back. Like sometimes it's a little difficult. So let's see. Soul to soul. Yes.
If I had a Kia Soul, I would have sold my Kia Soul for that photo. Oh, let's see. Did I don't think I got you guys going on Blind Man. And once again, I want to say thank you and cheers, Dave, if you're going to watch this later down the road. To Blind Man. Like we've always said we like promoting the little guys, man, and trying to just build this community, and that's ultimately what this is about. So I'm super pumped to help people like that. Dave's he's a good guy. He never asked to come on the show. I've had people ask to come on the show, and it's kind of a turnoff. Like we've built the small audience we have, and I want to promote people that aren't expecting to be promoted, and that you watch them on social media and they're doing the right thing, and they just love the brand. So super pumped about helping Dave there. And if you haven't yet, go like and subscribe to Blindman Overland. I think I'm excited to see these videos he's about to launch. So let's see. Greg, that was great to see Nissan Nation supporting other creators, man. And once again, we really like it. We really do like to support other creators, and much like I will help Dave in the tags and getting those. I was paying attention. I will help him get in some playlists and stuff that do actually help for YouTube. Let's see. Frank B asked, Dave, are you liking the wheels on the Juke, the Infinity wheels? If you guys haven't seen the video, and my Juke stuff never does great. The Juke stuff, when I launch that, is a passion of mine. It's because I love that stupid little car, and it's just a passion. I'm going to video it because sometimes I want to just show the world how cool these little cars are. But, Frank, I am loving those wheels. I see just that style of wheel, and I'm like, Nissan, dude, I really think little things like that would have made the world of a difference. And I think us in the United States, you would have seen that car sold a little bit better. And I'm not a big fan of the wheels that you see on like the Nismo and the Nismo RS. But for some reason, the color and everything of these wheels go with the color of my vehicle. So, yeah, I love them. I will say I've got just a tiny little rub because the back spacing is out just ever so slightly more. But a heat gun's going to fix that problem. And I actually have to put about a 5mm spacer on the front so I can get the little infinity cap to go back onto the center stud. Let's see. What else? The Juke. Yes, pickup trucks. My buddy Tim hates Jukes, like with a passion. But if you guys haven't yet, go like Tim's channel. If you haven't yet. If you like just SUV and pickup truck talk, like Tim kills it, man. And Tim just hit 30,000 subs, and I'd like to say I'm kind of jealous of that, but we're Nissan people, right? We just got to work with what we've got. Let's see. Hey, Dave, sorry, I was watching the shareholders meeting. Ariya is going to be revealed on July 15th. Thank you, Joe, for that. Joe, did you ever learn what that super chat button was, by the way? I'm just giving you crap, Joe. But no, I did a video that drops Tuesday. I'm going to talk about that, the 15th, the Ariya. And I'm super pumped about the Ariya, guys. Like, the Leaf, I was like, I know what they're doing with the Leaf. They're just trying to figure out EVs and how do you take EV tech and slowly, affordably make it to where, the world can accept it. And I think Nissan's done a fair share with that. Obviously, Tesla's the big name in EV. But I think that Nissan's done their share globally to help EVs be a little more accepted. And I was told the dealers had a meeting in Chicago last year. I was told that what my dog's doing. I was told that the Ariya, the concept you've seen was like 90 to 95% production ready. So if that tells you anything, that should be exciting. But once again, Tuesday, I have a video dropping on the Ariya and what I think could happen. So watch it Tuesday. Clearly, you're not watching my Juke videos, so maybe you'll watch the EV video. Let's see. What is the release date on the Frontier, Frank B. asked. Frank, that's the $1 million question right now. That I was told by an inside source that everything was pushed back 60 days. And this was in May when I was told that. So at one point, Frontier was going to be released at Chicago Auto Show, and they pulled that back. For whatever reasons, I was never given hey, this is why we're pulling it back. I know that Nissan built something special for King of the Hammers. That didn't get to happen. So the Frontier right now, man, I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of emails about that. And guys, I don't know. My buddy Tim there with Pickup Truck and SUV Talk, we've debated this on. And at one point I was really, and my heart wants me to say the Texas State Fair, whether that happens or not right now is who knows. But I want to say it's still, that would be the when it would happen and the reveal. And if you go by the last Titan reveal, so they released it at Texas State Fair. They did, journalists got to start in November driving around in the truck, and then it went on sale by the end of January. I would say we're on the track for that, but as of right now, I don't know. And let me let my dog get out of my studio. Come on. You're out of here, dude. You are out of here. All right, let's see. We'll show it. I don't even know what that means, but another moderator just handled this. Let's see. I don't know if y'all can hear my dog, but he's barking at something. Let's see. Civil Warrior, I have to give you thanks, Dave, for sharing the custom offset videos of rating my Titans. Oh yes, thank you, man. I'm glad to share that. If you guys don't know Civil Warrior, he's built an amazing Titan, and it was featured on, I forget what channel, Silver, but I'm sure you'll pop in there. It was featured on that, and it's really cool. And it is cool to see, like, it was, I think it's a Wheels channel or something, but anyways, like, it's really cool that they attempted to show some love. Let's see. Let me scroll up here and see if I missed anything. Canada, yes, Canada. Cordetti, my normal cast of characters. Let's see, guys. We got 25 watching tonight, man, and that is pretty freaking awesome. We've had up to 30 in the past. I'm just saying. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate also all the super chat stuff that everybody's done tonight, guys. That really does help a lot what we do here, man. And so I would tip my hat, but it's in the back of me. But thank you so much for all the support you guys do. We have, if you're not big into supporting this way, we have a Patreon account at Nissan Nation Podcast. You can go over there and support that way if you want to. If not, if you just enjoy this content, more power to you. Cheers to you on that too. So I was talking about the Ariya video that I've got coming out. Also, I want you to know that we have our intern Andrew, who you've seen on a few of these live shows back. He's writing a piece on the Ariya in his impressions of it. It's not from me or Danny. It's Andrew's impressions of it, and it will be on the website this coming week. So I'm super excited about that. We do put content on there. We do like to at least once a month have some kind of original blog or article that we do, and we want to do that more. So by you guys reading Andrew's, his posts, it just, we're going to make this bigger and better. Let's see. Only 25 watching right now and 14 likes. You're right, Tim. Tim, what is going on? Wait, can I like my own video? Bam. Now there's 19, Tim, because I just liked my own video. Is that being cocky? I don't know. Let's see. The Texas State Fair will be decided at the end of July. Well, there's a lot of things. And, like, I know you guys, I always talk about it, Windrock. We are in talks right now. Well, we're in final talks of partnering with Nismo to do something special with Windrock. And here in Tennessee, like, it's up in the air what the world is going to be by September. So, and that's around the time that the state fair is, and I'm hoping to fly out and cover that. I have a busy fall schedule planned for travel for the nation that is Nissan, if the world allows it. I'm not a big fan of the mask, but if I have to do it for you guys, like if I have to wear a mask on a plane, I'm going to do it for you guys just because you guys are awesome and support the show. Let's see. I can't imagine State Fair happens even with the viruses blown up. I agree with you, Tim, on that. I can't imagine it's going to happen, but I'm very hopeful. I really am. And the Frontier, especially for Nissan's sake, I don't want to see the Frontier as a digital release. I don't know if any of you paid attention to Rogue's release that they did a few weeks ago. I thought a lot of the videos were very good, But the problem was it was so scattered. Like, I didn't feel like any one video was here's the central message about our new product. Like when you see product release at car shows, there's a center stage. There's somebody, hopefully it's not old CG, talking about it. You can understand for us, the American and the English speaking markets. And you get, there's a lot of attention, man. And the way that I've seen the digital stuff rolled out right now, it just seems to be a mess. I know my buddy Tim there, and I keep bringing up Tim, but Tim's got a great channel. He just did one on the F150, and Tim did a video on it himself. But watching some of the stuff I've seen from even Ford, it's just like, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like a lot of focus. And I know for these manufacturers' PR departments, what a nightmare of trying to, you got $1 billion vehicle you're trying to launch, and how do you get the message across to everybody without the problems that we're seeing? So Ariya for Nissan, I'm hoping they nail it just a little bit better than Rogue was, but I didn't have a problem with Rogue. Let's see. There's some news I would really like to get into. Yes, all digital reveals have been done poorly. Ford takes the cake with the F-150. Fans on the live chat were even getting restless. Let's see. Do I think the Frontier will be as revolutionary as people think it will be? How do you even? Okay, so Toyota is the king of the hill for mid-sized truck sales, which the Frontier plays in. What's so revolutionary about that for a truck? Watching Tim's video, I've seen a lot of the cool stuff that Ford's doing with it, but there was nothing about the next F-150 that I was just like, holy crap! They just crossed the next threshold. The generator thing they were talking about doing was kind of cool, but for midsize, I don't know. So I brought this up. I want to say I brought this up on the last video. So Nissan with Frontier, you've got an S, you got an SV, you got a Pro 4X. We're going to say potentially Nismo. There's no confirmation on any of this stuff right now, so this is all pure speculation. And what if they did a fifth version as a Platinum? Now, they do a Platinum in the Titan right now, and there's some nice features in that truck, especially the refresh. They've really taken Platinum to the next level. Is something like that appealing? Would that be revolutionary for Nissan to do? Maybe. I don't know. I think a Nismo, a true Nismo Frontier, like what we got hints of that I released, I think that would be revolutionary for Nissan. And why that would be is because Ford's kind of dicking around with the Ranger. The Ranger's not been a success for Ford. They've sold a lot of them, but at the end of the day, I don't think Ranger made the big splash that everybody thought it was going to be. And why I say that, we've seen that truck for 6-7 years before it got here. Now, yes, the United States version, the North American version, is slightly different than the Australian version and the global version, but at the end of the day, we've seen it. GM did this with the Camaro. They put it in every Transformers movies out there. There was toys of it everywhere before you could even order the car. And then 2 years later, I think people were burnt out on it. So as long as Ford doesn't within the next 6 months dump a Ranger Raptor on us, which I don't think they could do that fast, and I don't think they've been planning it. I think Ford's been worried about Bronco and Bronco Sport right now. But as long as they don't dump something on us, I think Nissan has, with the Nismo, has something special that could really get them a lot of attention. But what it needs to be like what we've seen with that sort of warrior-ish look. And a year ago, I forget who it was, talked about that the Frontier, they were looking at Frontier to actually elevate Titan. Now, Titan has been a disaster. I owned a Titan. The inside of that vehicle, the comfort, the power of that V8 is amazing. But we all know Titan's been a disaster. And why is that? Because they copied Dodge or Ram and Ford way too much. Now the interior is very Nissan, but the outside of it was just like it was like they had Play-Doh of a mold of one particular truck, and they just started throwing it at the wall, and however that landed of Ford and Ram, that's how it was. And I did a 5 things I like and 5 things I hate about the Titan. Go watch that video because there was a lot of attention to detail that they didn't do. But yes, I think as long as we see the Nismo, what I've hinted at we're going to see, I think that is going to be revolutionary. Now, there was one more thing that I seen. Somebody did a hashtag, free TFL. Now, are y'all ready to really be pissed off? Because you're not going to like me on this one. So, oh, Monster, once again, I'm looking for you. All right, so 2 weeks ago, TFL Trucks, if you don't know. I like those guys. I think what Nathan and them, all those guys do is really cool. They really paved the way for a lot of YouTube journalists like we are to figure out. They figured out the key how to do this, and they figured out where manufacturers would start talking to them and stuff. So those guys are right now, between them, Redline, and Alex on Autos, and some of those guys, those are the I will say the Mount Rushmore of YouTube auto journalists. Now, there's a lot better out there, I think, like Lynn Woodward. There's a lot of people out there who I think are great, but for whatever reason, TFL appeals to everybody on YouTube. So TFL Truck had an invite to Ford's F150 debut. Now, it was all digital. You know, it's not like they were flying to Michigan and it's going to, you know, they've got VIP access to the truck where they could, like normally happens. Like they normally are there at Chicago Auto Show. I did see them at Chicago Auto Shows, and I talked to Andre there at the Frontier, the 2020 Frontier release. But so those guys are used to getting everything. Now, what happens when you want to be first at everything is sometimes you upset the manufacturers. Now, I know I did that with Nissan. With the Frontier picture that you've seen, I've talked to people over at Nissan, and they're like, yeah, corporate's not very happy with that. And guess what you've seen right after I released that picture? And I'm not saying this is because of us, but like, what was it, 2.5 weeks later, they did the A to Z video where they showed you a little more of the Frontier. I will also say that I did watch their stock price go up a hair, but that's, once again, I can't say that that was from just releasing that photo. Now, TFL got insider information to the Bronco that's coming out. Now, this is twofold. We've seen the Bronco, like, I don't know if you've never seen the Bronco, you're living in a cave somewhere, because there was photos of it, finished Broncos floating around 3 months ago or so. Well, TFL there's an insider engineer that was feeding them pictures. And I'm going to say that engineer no longer works for the Ford Motor Company, but he was sending pictures out, very detailed pictures out of the inside of the vehicle. It showed the manual transmission shifter. He showed where it's got a auto disconnect for the front sway bars or all the sway bars, and showed a lot of things that they maybe shouldn't have shown. Like if I had detailed photos of the Frontier, I'm sorry. Like, you guys don't know how many gray hairs I had and how many conversations I've had for a year about this photo that I released before I released it. So I can't imagine that somebody feeding you pictures and then you're just quickly, they've got to be the first. They've got to be the first. And I understand that. Journalism in general you've got to be first at everything anymore. Our attention span's so short. It's just, you've got to do it. Now, these guys, like I said, once again, are on the Mount Rushmore of YouTube auto journalists. And when I say these things, I respect those guys completely, what they've done. Now, I'm not trying to be mean, but they bit the hand that fed them on this. And when you bite the hand that really feeds you, they got cut off. And in my opinion, the proper thing to have done on that, they they should have like taken the spanking that Ford gave them and just went on about their business. And sure, they wouldn't have been the first within the 10 minutes to release the video on the next F-150, but within an hour or two, they would have had the information. No, what did they do? They went and just posts and every social media thing crying about how Ford, because they released a video on the Bronco, Ford cut them off from F-150. And I'm going to say Ford probably cut them off from a lot of future things for the time being. A lot of future releases that Ford's not going to give them access to right away. Because Bronco for Ford is super special. Like, including me, I'm excited about that vehicle because that forces people like Nissan to want to do something. They did video on it that I've seen them whine a couple times about this thing. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, they just came off kind of looking like spoiled children that didn't get their way. And I've had 2 children. I understand like what they do. They cry and they hope they get their way, and it didn't happen. So the whole free TFL thing, that's sort of my opinions on it. I'm probably being a little nicer than I would normally be about it. But anyways, let me know, guys, what you think on that. Let me look at a couple more questions before maybe I missed something Nissan related. And let's see. Joe Cruz. Hey, Dave, open a PayPal account and I'll send you a one-time to the cause. Not interested in Patreon. Joe Cruz, I actually have a YouTube thing for it. And if you would direct message me, Joe, on Instagram or the Facebook page, I could give you that. And whatever you do is much, much appreciated. Let's see. Let's see. The F150 reel didn't show the lower trims enough. Frank B, that's par for the course. Look at the Rogue release. They only showed you the Platinum Edition because it's all about building excitement. It's all about when I was in vintage guitar sales, we always had the expensive Fender or Gibson like vintage piece up here on the top of the wall, and right under it, you always put the cheaper, more affordable things, because guess what? People look at that, but then they settle for that. So, and that's just sales 101, man. It's why you only show the plush things. Let's see. What else? See what if I missed anything else. 28 minutes until they actually showed the truck. Yeah, I'm sure that was amazing. Let's see, Kelly. The new Sentra advertisement is great. I don't know if Kelly, if you're talking about the latest one where it shows the lady and her daughter in the Sentra. The Brie Larson one, I don't know. I don't think enough people really know who Brie Larson is. I know why Nissan got her, because for one thing, she's sort of a controversial name that would bring attention to your brand. Sometimes maybe not the right attention, but I was surprised we haven't seen her in any more advertising. I think they learned real quick when they had to shut off their comments on their YouTube channel on that commercial that how people thought about Brie, and that's, I don't care what side you're in on that, but sometimes attention's not good attention. Let's see, they're going in the right direction. Let's see, I think the platinum levels might be overkill for a Frontier. They could be, but guess what? We all know Frontier is about to go up in price. Like, that's a given, guys. Like, I've seen too many people when I release that picture going, yeah, but that truck's going to be blah, blah, blah. And, oh, here goes Nissan. They're going to jack up the prices. Well, let's see. Gladiator set the very top of what you can get for a mid-sized truck. Now, Gladiator is that weird. Is it a truck? Is it a SUV thing? I don't know where you place Gladiator. But it definitely set the bar for everybody to go, okay, we can just let's raise our vehicle prices up a little bit. Now, granted, things cost more every year. Like, there's a price to do business. But mid-sized trucks, believe it or not, mid-sized trucks were all going to be canceled at one point. Like, Toyota and Nissan were the last 2 people building them. And by 2012, I think it is. And then all of a sudden, like, Ford killed the Ranger in 11. Chevy killed the Colorado, which that thing needed to die because that last gen Colorado was a hunk of shit. Like literally, it was falling apart on dealer lots. But Toyota and Nissan stuck it out because, for one, that's their bread and butter of trucks, and I think they saved that market. And now look at it, man. Mid-size trucks is probably the hottest thing going right now. Let's see, a couple more questions, and I will let you guys go about your business. Let's see. Nissan should collab with somebody to make a Frontier Cyclone. I think the Nismo could be that, man, because you could do that Nismo beefy looking version in a 2-wheel drive or a 4-wheel drive. Like, who's to say? Like, they introduced a Nismo in the mid 2000s as a 2 or 4-wheel drive, so why not that one? Let's see. Tim, thank you for stopping by, guys. Let's see. Yes, a 700 horsepower motor. Yeah. Let's see. Everybody, I've seen people starting to bail out a little bit. This has been kind of a long one. My little TFL rant probably drug this on a little longer than it should have. Let's see. The latest on Nissan CEO situation. Frank, if I told you the latest on it, it would change next week. So some of that news I've been kind of ignoring just because, I don't know. I took a lot of heat, and I said this maybe last live chat. I definitely took it or said it in the Rogue video I did. I had a lot of people going, Dave, why didn't you talk about the Rogue when it came out? And for one, it was just kind of like, I like the way it looks. You know, watch my video. There's a few things I would change about it, but it just I didn't think it did enough for me to want to really be one of the first to talk about it, because the Nissan Nation here, we are a long-term play, man. This isn't I don't do this just for quick clicks, like a lot of channels do. Like, a lot of channels treat Nissan as that's my easy ad revenue and I'll get a minute watched out of that video, and then I move on to something else. That's how they treat Nissan, and I look at this as more of a long-term thing. So I would rather rest on that one, and put some thought into things that I loved about it and maybe some things I didn't like about it. So let's see. Can I answer a guitar question? Of course I can answer guitar questions. I sold vintage guitars for a long time. Let's see. TFL deserves their lumps, Fly 7 Rep says, and I do agree. And sometimes you can get too big for your britches, and I think that was something that happened. Great stream tonight, Frank B says. Can't wait for the next one. Can you put a Fender Strat neck pickup on a Tele neck? Yes, you can, and I've done it many times. You had the pick guard. You'd have to, because the Tele pickup is a little bit thinner, you'd have to kind of Dremel that out a little bit. Wiring is all the same, so there's nothing unique about that. Now, the Tele would have a 3-way toggle switch, and the Strat would have a 5-way toggle switch. Ramesh, let's see. What do you think about the Cobain guitar at auction? Frank, I haven't paid attention to that. Fill me in on that one. Happy 4th, Kelly, and happy 4th to everybody coming up. Please, as I wind this down, Frank, I'm sure you'll type that Cobain guitar thing out. I always say this, and I mean it with the bottom of my heart. When I was younger, I was dumb like everybody else. I would go out. I was a musician, so I was out playing, partying, and just being stupid. I was drinking and driving and just being reckless. And not should have. I potentially could have killed people. And so always at these what I call rookie nights, especially New Year's, 4th of July, things like that, Memorial Day and such. Guys, today's world is just way too easy to get an Uber or Lyft. Like, there is no reason to drink and drive anymore. I can't say that enough. And once again, I used to do this on the podcast every year. Just say this: please be safe out there. We all love the Nissan brand, and I'd hate to see your Nissan in your driveway all totaled or just killed somebody else because of just something that anymore. We don't live in a world anymore where you have to drink and drive. So please, maybe that $40 Lyft fee or whatever that it would cost to get you home seems expensive, but I've had some friends get DUIs, and that is thousands and thousands of dollars. So at the end of the day, at least save you that. $40 may save a life, may do something, you know. So anyways, let's see. It already played on MTV Unplugged, went for $6 million at auction. That is nuts, man. That is freaking nuts. Joe, I see once again you didn't learn what the super sticker chat button was, but that's all right because I'm just gonna each week give you hell. This week I have a video coming out about Ariya. We've got some Nissan Racing Xterra videos popping out. Danny's gonna want you to go to his channel, DeGroot X. If you haven't yet, go to DeGroot X and like and subscribe to Danny's lifestyle channel. He's doing just Groot things, like his race truck is over there. There's a lot of videos over there for that. We're kind of re-airing those videos on our channel. So if you want to catch up, go to Danny's channel. Check those out. I finished a new juke video today with, let's see. I can't tell you what it's about, but I feel like it's on the edge of, I don't know. So that's going to be coming up. So anyways, guys, thank you once again. Blind Man, thank you for being on the show, Dave. I appreciate you being on here. Once again, happy 4th of July. We've got a couple videos coming out. And so from all, Joe Taylor, you're going to want to be a part of this thing. So from all things Nissan here in my studio in Middle Tennessee to wherever, and I mean that wherever you're watching around the globe, this has been your Nissan Nation. And I'm your host, David Boyd. And we are what, Joe? Let's see if he says it. Who's going to say it? Drum roll. We are out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all. And, hey, guys, be safe this